The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Full book summary. Chapter 1. Nick Carraway's Introduction. The novel begins with Nick Carraway, the narrator, introducing himself and his background. He comes from a wealthy family in the Midwest and has moved to Long Island to work in the bond business. Nick rents a modest house in West Egg, a town full of new money individuals. His neighbor is Jay Gatsby, a mysterious millionaire who lives in a grand mansion and throws extravagant parties. Nick visits his cousin, Daisy Buchanan, in East Egg, an area where the old money families reside. Daisy is beautiful, charming, and married to Tom Buchanan, a wealthy but arrogant man. At dinner, Nick observes the tension in the marriage, and Tom's affair with another woman, Myrtle Wilson, becomes apparent. Afterward, Nick notices Gatsby standing outside his mansion, staring across the bay at a green light on Daisy's dock. This light becomes a central symbol in the story, representing Gatsby's unattainable dream of Daisy. Chapter 2. The Valley of Ashes and Myrtle Wilson. Nick accompanies Tom to the Valley of Ashes, a desolate industrial area between West Egg and New York City. Here lives George Wilson, a mechanic, and his wife Myrtle, who is having an affair with Tom. Tom takes Myrtle to New York City, where they have a lavish apartment. The relationship is one of convenience and selfishness, with Tom using Myrtle as an escape from his marriage to Daisy. The chapter culminates in a violent altercation when Tom strikes Myrtle after she repeatedly mentions Daisy's name. Nick, disturbed by this violence and the moral decay of the people around him, begins to see Tom and his social circle in a more negative light. Chapter 3. Gatsby's Party. Nick receives an invitation to one of Gatsby's famed parties. When he arrives, he is stunned by the extravagance and chaos of the event, filled with people who are there simply to enjoy the luxury without truly knowing or caring about Gatsby. Despite the opulence, Nick notices the emptiness of the partygoers' lives. At the party, Nick meets Gatsby for the first time. Gatsby is not what the rumors suggest. He is composed, polite, and somewhat mysterious. Nick is drawn to him, and although Gatsby's wealth and persona are grand, there is an underlying loneliness to the man. Nick begins to understand that Gatsby's grand lifestyle is a facade, designed to impress Daisy, whom he still loves and hopes to win back. Chapter 4. Gatsby's Past and His Obsession with Daisy. Nick learns more about Gatsby's past. Gatsby was born James Gatz to poor farmers in North Dakota and reinvented himself after meeting Dan Cody, a wealthy man who exposed him to a life of luxury. Gatsby changed his name and set out to achieve success, intending to win Daisy's love. He believed that if he amassed wealth, he could be worthy of her. Gatsby confides in Nick about his love for Daisy and how he has spent years accumulating wealth through questionable means, such as bootlegging, in an attempt to win her back. Gatsby's obsessive pursuit of Daisy and his belief that he can recreate the past become apparent. This chapter shows Gatsby's desperation to erase the years that have passed and his belief that he can turn back time to when he and Daisy were in love. Chapter 5. The Reunion of Gatsby and Daisy. Gatsby asks Nick to arrange a meeting with Daisy. Nick invites her to tea at his house, and when they reunite, it is initially awkward but soon becomes emotional as old feelings resurface. Gatsby, overjoyed, is almost childlike in his joy, while Daisy, although fond of him, is conflicted and unsure of what to do. During their meeting, Gatsby shows Daisy his mansion, hoping to impress her with his success. Daisy is deeply moved, but she is unable to fully embrace Gatsby's idealized vision of the future. Gatsby's dream is clear: to recreate the past, where he and Daisy were in love, and to win her back as if nothing has changed. Daisy, however, is now married to Tom and has a child, and she cannot fully escape the reality of her life. Chapter 6. The Collapse of Gatsby's Dream. Nick reflects on the gap between Gatsby's idealized vision of Daisy and the reality of their relationship. As Gatsby and Daisy grow closer, Tom becomes increasingly suspicious. He confronts Gatsby, exposing the fact that Gatsby's wealth was accumulated through illegal means, such as bootlegging. Gatsby's world begins to unravel as his idealism meets the harsh reality of Tom's accusations. Despite this, Daisy is still unable to leave Tom. The confrontation between Tom and Gatsby exposes the fragility of Gatsby's dream. Gatsby, who has built his life around the idea that wealth and status can win Daisy's love, realizes that Daisy's love is not something that can be bought or recreated. This chapter marks the beginning of Gatsby's downfall as his dream crumbles in the face of reality. Chapter 7. Tragedy and Death. The novel reaches its tragic climax in this chapter. Daisy, while driving Gatsby's car, accidentally kills Myrtle Wilson in a hit-and-run accident. Gatsby takes the blame for the incident, hoping to protect Daisy. George Wilson, Myrtle's husband, believes that Gatsby was driving the car and that he is responsible for her death. In a moment of tragic misunderstanding, George tracks down Gatsby at his mansion and shoots him. Gatsby dies alone, his dreams shattered. Tom and Daisy, uninterested in the consequences of their actions, leave town without offering any support or recognition of the tragedy. Nick, who has grown increasingly disillusioned with the East and its people, is left to handle the aftermath of Gatsby's death. He arranges Gatsby's funeral, but almost no one attends, symbolizing the emptiness of Gatsby's relationships and the hollowness of the world he inhabited. Chapter 8. The Aftermath of Gatsby's Death. In the aftermath of Gatsby's death, Nick reflects on the tragedy and the meaning of Gatsby's life. He learns that Gatsby's quest for success and his belief in the American dream were driven by his desire to recapture an idealized past with Daisy. However, this dream was unattainable, and Gatsby's pursuit of it ultimately led to his death. Nick also reflects on the moral decay of the world around him. He becomes increasingly disillusioned with the people he has encountered in New York, including Tom and Daisy, who are depicted as careless and self-centered. Nick's disillusionment with the East and its people deepens, and he decides to return to the Midwest, seeking a life that is more grounded and authentic. Chapter 9. Nick's final reflections and return to the Midwest. The final chapter of the novel reveals the consequences of Gatsby's death. Nick arranges the funeral, but despite his efforts, almost no one attends. Gatsby's former guests, who were once so eager to bask in his wealth and prestige, are indifferent to his death. Even his business associate, Maya Wolfsheim, refuses to come to the funeral, showing the shallowness of their relationships. Nick reflects on the failure of the American dream and the emptiness that underlies the pursuit of wealth and status. He realizes that Gatsby's dream of achieving greatness through hard work and ambition was doomed from the start. He concludes that Gatsby, like many others, was forever chasing an ideal that could never be realized. Nick also reflects on the broader implications of the American dream. He believes that the dream, much like Gatsby's hopes, is a perpetual struggle against time and forces beyond one's control. Nick's final reflections underscore the novel's central themes of illusion, disillusionment, and the futility of the American dream. In the end, Nick decides to return to the Midwest, disillusioned by the moral decay he has witnessed in the East. He leaves behind the world of wealth and privilege, seeking a simpler, more honest life. The novel concludes with Nick's reflection on the perpetual striving of individuals who, like Gatsby, are forever chasing an idealized past. Conclusion. The Great Gatsby is a novel that critiques the American dream, exploring the emptiness of wealth, the illusory nature of success, and the fragility of human dreams. Through the tragic story of Jay Gatsby and his obsession with Daisy, Fitzgerald paints a picture of a society that values materialism and status over authenticity and human connection. The novel's final chapter underscores the futility of pursuing an idealized past and the inability to escape the forces that shape one's life. In the end, The Great Gatsby serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers of idealism, the hollowness of the American dream, and the consequences of relentless ambition.